Welcome and good evening to the High Vibe Project's the round table discussion. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kwanam Tran, and I'm a business owner, a forex trader, and a keynote speaker who uses the platform to inspire through my personal journey. And I'm also a soon-to-be published author. I've also appeared on national television, giving a voice to the disability community, showing that although we are a minority, we can use our shortcomings to bring joy and happiness to the majority. And I'm also your host, where we'll be having a lounge room conversation style about health and fitness. But enough about me. Let me introduce to you three awesome individuals who've accepted to be a part of my panel. Oh, let me admit some people. And here's my paper, and I'll just read you a bio about each of our fantastic panelists. A brand designer expert with over 20 years worth of experience, Sim has gone from working in the smallest local agencies in the south of Portugal to being a best-selling designer for a #1 online print and design company on the planet, serving over 24 million customers. He is the founder of SL Design. Sim uses his creative ability to think outside the box, and his passion for all things design has seen Sim working alongside global brands to develop their branding and unique footprint. Sim's flair for design that converts is in demand across the world, particularly within the ever-growing fitness community. His portfolio consists of brand design work for a number of coaches and speakers, athletes and fitness centers, as well as a nutrition and clothing brands. Please welcome Sim. Give us a wave. And next up is a qualified personal trainer in fitness and a passion for personal development. Dina shares and encourages why it's important to live a healthy life, not just physical, but also mentally. By combining fitness with his love of human connection, Dina realizes his purpose in life isn't just trainer to client, it's person to person. Give us a wave, Dina. Awesome. Hey, is your audio on? Wait. Oh, no, it's not. Wait, hold on. Bang. And last but not least, Matthew Mock is an ex-lawyer turned entrepreneur, health advocate, speaker, and high-performance coach. After working in the corporate for 5 years, Matthew felt unfulfilled and undervalued by his employer. He wanted to change his life and hence turned into online business. Matthew now leads a global team of entrepreneurs in the health and wellness space. I'm passionate about helping people build their own fulfilled lives through entrepreneurship, as well as to help people improve their health. Welcome, Matthew. And is your audio on? Oh, no.
That's not.
Oh, wait. Hello.
You gotta unmute him.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Now you talk.
Now I'm you keep muting me, man.
Oh, don't you just love these technologies?
Oh my god, this is nuts.
So you, the viewers, would love to answer your questions too. So there's a chat box on the right if you're using a computer. But if you've got any questions, please ask us and we'll cater to it. But first, we've got to answer the biggest question in the room. it's a debate that's been going long before the fitness industry, long before the internet. The question is cardio versus weights. Which do you do first? I don't know what to say, but each to their own. But I love doing cardio and weights. It doesn't matter what order, but as long as you get it both in, I think that meets the criteria of my training. But let me ask Sim, what's your take on cardio and weights? Cardio before weight or after, or? Oh no, I got you on mute too. All right, go. Oh. Why?
2 and 2, 100% strike rate. All right, very good, Kun. So this question has different answers in my life, because I've come from a background of team sports. I've always done the cardio first. In fact, I was always not very friendly towards gyms, and it wasn't until my mid-20s that I started realizing that fitness and specifically resistance training helped me a lot with the component of team sports. I played basketball for a while. And when I started realizing that, I all of a sudden, when began complementing my basketball activities with weight and resistance training, all of a sudden 5 years go by, I have no injuries at all. And I started realizing, okay, there's something in this. So I've always done the cardio first, and then I would do the weights. Nowadays, it's a completely different matter because I don't play basketball anymore. And I realized that weights tend to satisfy me more, and then do the cardio at the end of it. So now if I do cardio, it'll be light cardio in the morning, and depending on what my goals are. But a light morning walk, jog could be the way that I start the day. If not, I wait until sort of towards the end of the afternoon to come home and do my weights, and then do the cardio after the weights. And that could be on the treadmill, that could be walking outside, or completely isolated and make it its own section. Like for example, on the elliptical or on the stationary bike. But now it's mostly weights before and then cardio. Also because for body composition and that sort of physique look, I've just learned throughout time that working with weights before and doing the cardio at the end works better for that sort of goals that I had.
Yeah.
If that answers the question.
Yeah, 100%, because everyone's in their own journey. So as long as you get what I say, as long as you get both in, because it serves two different purposes. One for cardiovascular endurance and one for if you were to do bodybuilding, muscle mass. But they're both intertwined together to combine that health and fitness lifestyle that we all need. What about you, Dina?
The cardio and the weights component.
Yeah, cardio weights.
Man, it really depends on the individual at the end of the day. You know, it really depends on what you're used to doing in the very beginning. If you're used to doing cardio, you would obviously put the cardio in front before you do the weights. And over time, as you continuously keep doing that, your body's obviously going to be less stimulated because you've been taking it through the same route the whole time. So it's always good to mix it up at times as well, from my professional standpoint. Ideally for me, I like to do the cardio in the very beginning, just to get the body warmed up. It's a lot of the dynamic stuff to get the blood flow. And then I'm going to smash, obviously, the resistance side of things, whether it's functional, whether it's weight resistance training, whether it's compound movements, or I can even do that in the beginning and then I can do the cardio after. I like to mix it up from time to time. So that way my brain and my body isn't always aware of what's coming.
Yeah, because because you're a personal trainer. So how do you incorporate that with your clients? Do you give them a specific structure?
It starts off with like I said again, it's very unique to the individual. You know what I mean? Sometimes some of my clients that don't really have the best cardiovascular system, so then I obviously train them in that area before we even dive into areas of weightlifting. But then it comes down again to their particular goals. If they want to lose weight, then obviously we incorporate the cardio with the weight training as well, so they get the best of both worlds. But most of the time, from what I've seen so far, it's more cardio first, and then weights after. Because I find that when they do weights before, the cardio doesn't really flow as well.
As in, yeah. In my sense, if I was to do cardio, I guess it's a double-edged sword. I say if I do cardio first and then weights, I kind of deplete my energy in pushing heavy. So, but if I do weights first, I can push heavy, but I'll gas out early for cardio. But it's good to mix it up. That's how I see it. And yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Matthew, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert PT like these guys, but I do go to the gym often. So from personal experience, I did experiment both. It's always a very good experiment, right? So when I do cardio first, I find just like what Cor said, my energy to push the weights. I do heavy bench, I do heavy, weightlifting. I tend to feel more fatigued. I don't think I can, push as well. That's my experience. And I think it just comes down to science, right? So when you're lifting weights, right, your body's actually exerting energy, and the energy that's used will be depleted if you go cardio. However, I literally just Googled, what's better? So I want to serve you guys better. If you're training for a run, for example, like a sprint, right, it's actually better to do cardio first because you actually train that cardiovascular fitness. So it really depends on the person, right? If you're training cardio, then cardio first is better than weights first. But if it's more about building muscle, I might be wrong, by the way, I'm not expert, right? But it's what I've read, and about from personal experience. If you have to weight, you try to get shredded and whatever, then saving the energy for weights first before cardio will enhance that kind of performance. So yeah, for me, I'm after lean muscle mass build. So I do a combination of both weights first, and I do my boxing, kickboxing afterwards. So yeah, a bit of conditioning and cardio afterwards.
Yeah, it's really up to each to their own. There's many resources available on the internet about this cardio versus weight or cardio before weight or whatnot. But then I believe it's up to how you feel and your goals, what you want to achieve. But in saying that, there's no right or wrong. 100%, there's no right or wrong. Well, I met Matthew. Where do we meet? In
Virgin Active.
Yeah, Virgin
you're
Active.
So cool. I had to approach you, man. You're doing
So a little backstory about it. Yeah, I met Matthew at Virgin Active in the city. I was just training, and then he comes up to me and said, "Hey, cool." I forgot what you said, but that's how we struck up this relationship. But yeah, it's great. And Dina, I've known you for so long.
Yeah, for a while now.
For a while. And you're one of my PTs at the gym that I run.
Yes.
Which unfortunately is closed because of our stage 3 lockout restrictions. And Sim, we met only 2 months ago. Yeah, roughly 2 months ago at the Speakers Tribe conference. I noticed him when he was sitting next to me. I was like, whoa, this guy's big. He must train. I need to get to know him. Love it. Tell us a bit about yourself. I gave a brief bio about you guys, but Sim, elaborate on what you do. What's your passion? Hey, wait. One moment. Why does it?
What happened? You just muted him.
Yep.
Why does the word go to mute?
I'm good.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was about to say that I've got a background in graphic design. I've always been the sportsy kind of person and very active. In fact, if I didn't have some sort of activity, physical activity, I would be pent up with too much energy. And this became very evident growing up. So I tried a few different sports, and finally my passion in basketball just took over the other ones. Because when you grow up, at certain points, you start refining the number of activities you can do. And that led me to doing basketball. And for my career, I'm a brand designer. So I have a past in graphic design, and it just so happened that doing graphic design led me to work at that company in Barcelona, that global company. And then one day, I went to Malaysia on a workshop, a development workshop. And it just so happened that in Malaysia, I came to meet my now wife. And after meeting my wife in Malaysia, I came to Australia about 6 months after. And that's late 2012. So 2013, I was docking in and coming in to Australia, and that's how I ended up here. It's a very summarized version of why I'm here and how we met. And I keep myself active. I keep myself engaged in development, like yourself. And sort of you tend to float around the tribes and like-minded people. And it was sort of why like-minded people met through the tribe, the speaker's tribe. And I remember being with Rochelle in the crowd and looking at your delivery and thinking, this guy he's got his own energy going. And it was funny that we ended up sitting at the same table, and we struck up a conversation, and here we are.
I chose you. Like
Correct. Yeah.
Well,
And because I already obviously like sports so much, when I came to Australia, I shifted from working for somebody to having my own business, and that was a big transition. But because of my own passions in sports and in development, I ended up finding out that I can serve these markets, and that's where brand design got refocused to helping athletes, helping fitness equipment brands and coaches and speakers, because it always goes back to the mentality, the mindset that we all share. And I find the more I work in these spaces, the more there is to be said in mindsets. So it's really interesting because I serve those markets, and they are within my passion. It's not like I put on my suit and tie and go to work. It's just part of who I am, and I really love that. I actually really enjoy getting more and more clear about these people, what makes them tick. If that's going to be a mindset coach or business coach, or if I'm working with one of the top IFBB pros, which I have for clients, and it's amazing to see how the blueprint is there, and then we fill that blueprint with variables that are, like I said, there are certain analogies and comparisons that can definitely be made, and that's how I ended up being a brand designer, and for sports people and coaches, and how we met.
yeah, that's great. And you talk about the mindset, which is really, really important, especially in fitness, because fitness isn't just about your physical aspect. It's about your mental thought, how you perceive your life, and being physically,
Absolutely.
being physically fit can definitely improve on one's mental well-being, which is that's what I love about you, Dina. Like you post on Instagram about all these personal developments, encouraging people and all that stuff. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Okay. So where can I start? So I started training, started working out, doing a few push-ups, doing a few pull-ups, running around at the park at the age of 17. So that all started there and then. I started joining up the gym at the age of 18. I got my certificate, Cert 3, Cert 4 at the age of 21. and it sat there and it collected dust for a couple of years. I only picked it up at the age of 25 to 26. So I've only been in the fitness game for a good 4 solid years, but I've had all those years training since I was 17 till now, with all those years of experience at the gym and, you know, doing different styles and methodologies of training with friends. So there was always that opportunity for me to also coach my friends as I was working out on my own as well. So that gave me kind of in-house experience before I stepped into the industry, when I got the Cert 3 and the Cert 4, and I started actually doing personal training, group training, one-on-one, and I'm doing also mobile PT as well now. I have such, you know, such huge, immense passion and love for fitness itself, the whole aspect of working out, but also the human connection that I have with other people. I like that human interaction. And I think when you combine the two together, that really kind of solidifies everything, and it really puts you in a position where you can really work, you know, one-on-one with someone or in a group setting to really offer, you know, your love and time. That was me in a nutshell. And 100%, I agree with Kwa in terms of the mental health aspects. You know, it's not even the physical aspect of training, but what training can give you. It can give you that stimulation. It can, you know, it can increase brain function. It can increase your immune system. It increases endorphins in your body, which is the happy chemicals that it's released once you start training, once you finish training. So it allows you to be more grounded, more anchored to who you are, and you discovered what you're really made of when you're pushing through those reps and sets. And I find that it's such a benefit factor if everyone were to train, even though if it's 20 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, anything big. It can be just quick, simple, and efficient, and it will carry the momentum that you need throughout the day, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%. So it brings like basically a no excuses attitude. You know, like what you said, 20 minutes a day. That's basically what everyone can spare. We have 24 hours in a day, and if you can spare 20 minutes just to go for a run or anything physical to bring up your heart rate, then that's better than sitting in the couch eating potato chips.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that brings me to you, Matthew, because I know you love all this personal development too. Tell us a bit more about yourself and why you got into fitness and health, because you're advocate in healthy eating and supplements and all that.
Yeah, great question. So, like, do you want me to talk about the personal development side, or
just talk about who you are? We'll get more into who you are. Yeah.
All right, sure. So yeah, I guess I've always been a very, I guess, fitness oriented guy. You know, like my parents made me go to swim school, tennis school when I was young, and then they put me to Taekwondo in year 10, and then now I'm doing kickboxing in the gym. So I always have that kind of that interest in fitness. And also, you know, I was always being a lanky kid, you know, I was a guy playing basketball in high school. I was very skinny back then, no muscles, and I always get like, you know, boxed out on playing basketball. So I got sick of that. So I was like, you know what, it's time to go to the gym and develop some muscles, right? So that's when I got into the whole gym thing. And then after that, you know, I recently got into, I guess, optimizing my performance, because personal development, right? It's all about, you know, becoming the best version of yourself. And it's not just mental, right? It's also physical. Mm-hmm. So, you know, even though, you know, I've been developing myself, my mindset, you know, doing a lot of courses, you know, invest into Tony Robbins, all that kind of stuff, right? I found that if your physical health is not up to scratch, your mental health won't be up to scratch, because like it's many pillars of health. You got the physical health, you got the spiritual health, and you got your mental health, right? If one of those out of whack, your whole world, it's not like, it won't be aligned, you know, and also like your life won't feel as 100% as you should be. So if you feel like, you know, something's lacking in life, one of those 3 pillars are lacking. And that's when I look after my health, you know, like the reason why I got into, you know, health and most recently nutritional supplements is because my mom was recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And that was about 2 years ago. And, you know, just a bit of background, she exercised like 5 times a week in the gym. So literally a gym junkie, more than me. And she was very, very fit. But my question was, how did she get smashed with cancer all of a sudden? And I really looked into health. What causes diseases? Did you know that the most deadly thing on the planet. It's not the coronavirus. Everyone's shitting themselves right now about the coronavirus. I'm feeling like this way, by the way. That's what I seem like. When I get passionate, I do tend to, get out of the way. But as curing than most people, it's actually chronic illnesses all of Australia in 1 year. And no one actually blinks an eye. No one goes, "Oh, I'm scared of a heart attack." No one actually cares about their health until something happens to them. And I did a lot of research, and I found that chronic illnesses, who actually knows how many years does it take for, say, diabetes? How many years that it takes to develop? You can comment below, by the way. It's a bit of a quiz.
I have no
How many
idea.
years do you reckon diabetes, what?
Oh, your connection's kind of frozen right now. Could you hear us? Hello? Can anyone see a frozen Matthew? Hello? Hello?
Cool. Matthew was asking about how long it takes for diabetes to fully develop.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
so
back.
he threw us a quiz, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have no idea, but let's wait for him to reconnect because I think he got disconnected. And I'm sorry, this is all new with this Zoom, and it always keeps putting us on mute. I don't know why.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's why I was talking just then, but then I looked at it. Hey, why is it on mute? One moment. So does anyone know the answer?
I would say from people that I know, about 10 years that I saw people with that sort of problem.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Matthew will have, because I think I heard him say around 20 years, which wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
And Matthew,
And
I think he's back. Matthew?
Still a bit frozen.
And now where's Dina? Hello, Dina. You're back.
Nah, it's like it kept muting itself.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, with all these technical.
I think once
It
you
comes
mute,
down to the Wi-Fi.
yeah, call must unmute us if we mute, so don't mute ourselves. The panelists. Yeah, that's a good tip there.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So your quiz, Matthew. You asked about, was it diabetes? Was it?
Back up? Yeah, he was. So he was asking how long it takes for diabetes to develop.
Yeah, or any chronic illnesses. Sorry, I keep dropping out. I just switched to my hotspot, Telstra hotspot, so it should be better now.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so what was your quiz? The answer to your quiz?
So it's about 10 to 15 years.
There you go.
So any chronic illness, it takes about 10 to 15 years for it to develop in your body until actually you get diagnosed by it. So when people get diagnosed by heart disease, right? It takes that means you've been getting heart disease since 15 years ago. That's how scary chronic illness is. And it's all caused by, lack of nutrition, your poor diet, your poor sleep, your lifestyle choices. So that's what I discovered. And that's why I got very serious about my health and looking after people's health, because, we're going through a tough time through chronic illnesses. I don't want it to happen to any of you guys. So that's why, my mission is to really empower you guys with the right knowledge to make the better decisions in life. Yeah, so that's how I got started in the whole health side.
That's amazing, man.
That's great. Everyone starts their health and fitness at different stages of your life. Sometimes a significant event has to come to realize that, your health is important. Life is so precious, and one of the ways we can make our life prolong is to be fit and healthy. Whether that's 100%. Even just going about for walks, simple walks. All right. I've got a question from Luke. All right. So since we are in isolation and most people are stuck in their homes and gyms are closed, yeah, bloody hell.
Bloody hell.
No, bloody hell.
What's the world come to?
I'm losing my gains. What is the best advice for maintaining the best fitness routine? And what are the best exercises to do if you do not have weights at home gym? Who would love to answer that? Matthew.
Oh, there you go, Matthew.
Yeah, so I was actually struggling for a while, but then my wife actually, introduced me. She was doing like a PT session for free, and then I just, I saw her doing it in front of the TV. I was like, oh no, all right, might as well just hop on, right? Just get a free PT session. And then the PT was actually using resistance bands. You know the bands, guys? You can get the resistance bands. Although I think they're out of stock right now in Rebel. We haven't gone to Rebel now, but they're out of stock, right? So basically, I never used any resistance band training before. And I thought it was easy, right? I'm used to benching, 60 plus, 70 plus, but then I'm just like, band, what's I got to deal with, weights? So I tried it, I actually use the resistance to actually, do weight or do bend over rods. It's actually very, very hard, especially if you get like a black band, like when the taut is actually really, really hard to actually pull the elastic band. It's like actually getting a weight workout. That's how hard it is. So yeah, Luke, if you are struggling to find options, maybe looking into resistance bands, or other options include, of course, like a pull-up bar, you do this, body weight stuff. That also works as well. I know Asians, right? You guys have a bag of rice somewhere. So when I get a 20 bag of rice, what's a squat like that? So that also happens as well. So yeah, like winners do whatever it takes. No excuses, right? You either make excuses or you get results. One of those two things, right? So just look around the house, get creative. But yeah, the rice thing is pretty cool. When my friend told me that, I'm like, oh yeah, right. I got 2 bags of rice downstairs, 50 kilos, right? But yeah, resistance band. Yeah, I do know a PT that actually has them in stock. So yeah, let me know if you need some. I can forward you his details. But he's he's got some stock left.
They have rice in stock.
No, not rice. I know Wallace is sold out, but yeah.
Because I'm looking for some.
It's a toilet paper.
Toilet paper too. Toilet paper a bit light, but if you want to make it heavier, just add water.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
don't know if you can reuse it again, so. Oh.
And
All
for
right.
boxing, just use beef.
Okay. So,
Yep. I was just gonna add to that there's a lot, and I mean a lot, you can do with just body weights. Elastic bands are fantastic, and they're your portable gym that you can basically carry wherever you go. Obviously, at the moment, we're not going anywhere, but pretty sure that Matthew, being a speaker and traveling quite frequently, knows about the benefits of traveling with elastic bands inside your suitcase, because you can set them up in any place, door, hotel, and you're good to go. However, outside of that, I've always done push-ups. I've sort of been the push-up dude, and throughout my university years, I never touched the weight, and I kept in serious shape with a lot of squatting, a lot of push-ups, a lot of crunches, and that's just the basic stuff, right? You got your 4 basics, and in the gym there are the squats, there are the presses, there are the military presses, the bench presses, which translates to, again, squats even with your body weight, lunges with one leg on the other leg, your crunches, your push-ups, and there's so much stuff that you can do with body weights. I would highly recommend people check out Dina's Instagram account. He's got lots of body weight workouts, and they're really, really easily to implement at home, anytime, any place, and they get you sweating.
Dina, right.
You can really utilize, the environment that you're in, and your own body, man, in a time like this, in a time of isolation and quarantine.
Oh yeah.
And you can focus on a lot of the things that you're not really focusing on whilst you're at the gym, because for the most part, we take a lot of things for granted. And that's the reason why I think now it's a good time to reflect on the things that we've taken for granted. I think that's a big thing for us to, each take into consideration. So when the gym is there, there's always the machines and the weights. and we never really tapped into, you know, learning how to use our own body the most effectively and the most efficient way. So being at home, there's so many different varieties of body weight workouts where you can actually target, you know, your upper, your lower, your core, your whole body. You can do it for time, you can do it for reps. There's just so many different ways that you can attack it. So that way your mind is fresh, your body is fresh, your spirit is fresh. So when all this, the dust has settled and you are ready to go back into the gym, you're already primed for that. You're not looking to go back and start at square one all over again. So it's about just kind of maintaining a positive spirit in this time of doubt at the moment. And that's the most important thing. So yeah.
One thing that I would add to what Dina just said, which is all of it is true, is that one of the unspoken benefits of doing body weight exercises is that it stimulates the body in a different way that weights just don't. Have you heard of functional strength? Working with body weight just elicits the central nervous system that we all have in a very different way than just loading up weight on a bar and pushing it in a one-dimensional plane of movement. And it gets your whole body relative to itself much more functional. So if you do lunges on one leg on a Bosu ball, your whole core is working, your back is working, your neck is stabilizing the rest of it all. So you can't really work those micro groups of muscles in the same way at the gym, because usually load the bar up, and depending on how you're training and what your goals are, you load the bar up and you do 10 sets of whatever it is, bench presses, squats, whatever. But when you're doing it with your strength, with your body, and you're doing it in a way that gravity comes into play, balance comes into play, all flexibility comes into play, all of these factors that you're not used to working will be brought back onto your whole body. So it's a really interesting tip that Dina said. You keep yourself in motion right now, and when this whole thing blows over, you'll go back to the gym and you'll be much more functional, provided that you keep yourself like seriously fit.
Yeah, I totally
Well said.
agree. I totally agree.
You're welcome.
As long as we what do you say, like maintain it by keep exercising body weight, say pull up, squats, inverted rows, push-ups. We maintain it for this dusty time, which is really dusty at the moment.
Yeah.
We just have to keep on going, basically. You know, like if you do stop, everyone knows, like when we stop, say for 2 weeks, so we feel deflated. Well, I feel deflated. I go, oh, man, where did all my gains go? and then when I try to go back and push heavier, it's like everything's all sore. It's like, what the hell's going on? I mean, it feels good, but But that's one tool I like to avoid, and you can avoid that by consistently working out. You know, you have your rest day 1 or 2 days, but even if we don't have weights at home, the world is our playground, basically. You know, your house, it is a playground with rice bags, with chairs, dumbbells. I don't know if you have dumbbells at home. not many people do.
How's this for creative? I'm gonna use the hallway to do sprints back and forth. It's like 20-30 meter sprints, but you can still do lateral slides in squatting position. You can do running back. You can do quick goes, like when you get off the marks on the track. You can still simulate certain parts of training outside or in the gym or on a track. And you have to get creative to do that. But I use the hallway, by the way.
and Matthew
talking about getting creative.
Matthew uses a Snorlax. 300 kilo Snorlax. That's pretty. I've seen on the internet, on Facebook, people put detergent on the ground and then they start doing their own treadmill, and that's really inventive. So there you go, Luke. If you don't have any cardio equipment, use detergent. I don't know what detergent is good, but any detergent will do. You're cleaning the floors too. so that brings the question into the mental side of training. We why it's not a chore but a lifestyle, like running in the park, smashing 100-kilo presses, even mountain biking in the wilderness. It's a lifestyle, not a chore, if you know what I mean. So it also brings us to the mental side of things. We know that being fit and healthy isn't just helpful for the physical side, but from a mental perspective, as we were saying. But a lot of people, they do overlook doing physical exercise when it comes to their mental well-being. I hear plenty of excuses as to why not to attend, for example, a gym. Like they're tired from work, too late, too lazy, too early. I got a party to go to, but well, not with these restrictions. So that excuse is down in the. And studies also show that regular exercise has been proven to reduce stress, ward off anxiety and depression.
Yep.
And bring your self-esteem up and improve your sleep, because everyone knows that sleep is important. But in saying that, we're us guys, we are fitness fanatics, right? But there's also been stages in our life, not even stages, even throughout, like maybe a couple of days or a couple of weeks ago, there where you choose not to be bothered. You know, you can't be bothered going to the gym or working out or doing any physical activity, because it's just like one of those days, right? Like the gloomy days where I go, I'll do it tomorrow. But how do you guys find that motivation to pick yourself back up? Well, what do you tell yourselves? And I'm going directed to Dina first, because you're a PT and you got to show that motivation, especially when you're doing a one-on-one training for your clients, because the energy you give out to your client reflects on them too. So if you're negative, you go, I can't be here, do it, then they're not going to get a good workout, right?
100%.
Yeah.
It transmit. Yeah.
If you're enthusiastic and you give them 110%, then they'll say, wow, that is the best workout ever.
Yeah.
But how do you, for yourself, pick yourself back up? And when your client feels like they don't want to do that workout, what do you tell them?
So it all starts with yourself, right? It all starts from within. So I think you can never search for anything external, right? So in the end of the day, even for me as a personal trainer, as a personal coach, if I can't get myself right, there's no way in hell I can get someone else right. So I find that I owe it to myself, and there's a responsibility that I take on, and there's that moral duty that I have to, I don't have to work out. I enjoy working out, and there are days that I hate working out, but I have to really link it with the emotions that I'm operating on for that day. Sometimes I'm operating out of anger. Sometimes I'm operating out of confusion, operating out of pure joy. So depending on what emotions I'm operating on, that will really depend on the outcome that I get from the workout. But the days that I'm not motivated, I really kind of like let myself be unmotivated and understand why I don't want to go work out. And really get in my own head to understand, is this going to be better for me now to not even do 20 push-ups or go for a run, go for a walk? It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, like I said earlier before. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be short, simple, and efficient. And I find that the moment that I think about it that way and I'm very lazy and unmotivated, I just pick up and go anyway, because once my feet starts moving, my mind starts moving. And then once your mind starts moving, you created that momentum again that you thought you once lost. So I always say to people, just keep it simple all the time. Keep it simple, whether it's a page a day that you're reading, if it's a book that you're reading for personal development, whether it's a minute that you're listening to from a podcast, or whether it's 10 minutes that you're working out, as long as it's something is always better than nothing. And that's what I believe.
Very good. Something is better than nothing. that That is really, really true. Like I tell myself that too. Like I get days where, you know what, I'll postpone it. I'll do it later, but then later turns into night and go, I'll go to sleep. I'll do it the next day, and then when I wake up the next morning, I'll think about the day before. It's like, I didn't train. All right, I better start training now. That's how I do myself back up. You know what? I feel lazy now, but I didn't do anything yesterday, so I have to do something. I have to push myself because you got to keep active. 100%, you got to keep active. And Matthew, same.
So my tips on the question was, how do you stay motivated, right? Like there are days where you feel okay. So I give you guys some, I guess, some personal development, some little bit of coaching, right? Is awesome because you know what I realized over the days, I used to be a huge procrastinator. You know, back in high school, I used to fail subjects. You know, I was like really the kid that gets bullied. I was like horrible. You know, I was with procrastination. And what I realized was, you know, habits. You know, habits is what forms who we are. You know, Aristotle says, you know, we are what we repeatedly do. We are thus creatures of habits. So when you say, you know, most people, right, they procrastinate on going to the gym because, yes, after work, oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, too tired today, right? Like we hear that all the time. And if you tell yourself, yeah, it's okay to skip the gym, you tell yourself that story in your head, then it replays in your head. Next time, all right, I told myself yesterday, it's all right to skip the gym. I'll skip it again today. So you're telling your subconscious mind, yes, it's okay to skip the gym. And if you keep doing that, it compounds. And that's why, you know, it's very hard to actually go back to the gym once you lose the momentum. And, you know, one thing that I always like to teach people is consistency is the number one skill in the world. If you look at any elite athlete, if you're training, they train every single day. I don't care if it's raining, you know, I don't care if it's like 5 a.m., it's like minus 10 degrees outside. They still go out there and do the training. There's no excuses. So, you know, if you look at anyone, you know, even sports, exercise, you know, you're doing a business or whatever, consistency, continuously doing the same thing over and over again, that's what creates mastery, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. So it's all about carrying the habit. So what I like to do for time management, right? You work full time, you've got kids and stuff. Maybe block out a section of your calendar. All right, maybe when the kids go to sleep, 8 to 8:30 p.m., I'll do my workout downstairs. Or I'm at work, maybe 1 to 2 during a lunch break, I'll go for a run. So I guess a hack I'd give you guys is if you're struggling to find time, excuses, make sure you schedule into a calendar, because if you're not in your calendar, then you never get it done, right? Make sure you schedule your workout in. And my wife always scheduled into my calendar. Matthew, we're going to work out tomorrow at 7:30. I'm like, okay. I click yes on the calendar invite before I make excuses. And I'm in for 7:30 tomorrow. So anyways, yeah. So habits, make sure you form the habit and do that through consistency and booking yourself in the calendar. That really helps me.
Yeah, calendar is it makes you be held accountable for it, you know, for your actions. If you're checking your calendar every day, you know you've got to do it. No excuses really, but that's a good way to keep track on your motivation. Put it in the calendar, even if the calendar has an alarm where it pops up onto your phone with a message, hey mate, work out now. You know, something simple. Oh yeah, I better work out now. But that brings me to you, Sim. Motivation.
I'm listening to these guys talk, to these two guys, and they've both got great points. For me, I think I take a little bit out of each, but motivation only carries you so far, I find. And there are some days where you can't possibly muster up that motivation. So on those days, motivation fails. It's not a system. It gets you into a jolt. But I love what Matthew said, that it becomes a habit, because that's how I pushed myself out of the couch or out of a slump every time that I've struggled to get myself and be active. And I'm looking back at years and years and years. It became a habit for me. So Matthew, again, you're very right around what the importance of establishing those habits can play out in fitness. because those habits, they condition you, and a conditioning becomes then a repetition. It becomes a ritual for you, and that's the case for me. It's so much so that I usually play around, but I've stopped playing around because I think it's not a joke anymore. It's really part of me so much that I think it's my one addiction, physical activity. And it sounds funny or cliche to say it, but I think it's my one addiction. And I say this because the times in my life and the periods of my life where I cut out physical activity from my habits, I start having the same syndrome, the same symptoms of withdrawal that an addict has. So I've got mood swings. I have sleep disruption patterns. I get a lot more fidgety, so nervous. I break out into sweats every now and then, and I feel the energy is not stable throughout the day. I'll be sort of dispersed and broken. And looking back at, again, the habits and the importance of conditioning those habits, motivation is great. But here's something that I've learned. When I'm not feeling great and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm telling myself, you're not going to get up to work out, I actually do get up. Because Matthew knows this probably, and if most of the people on this call know it, fantastic. If not, here's something that helps you get out of your slumps. There's a thing called triads of behavior. And the basis of a triad is that you've got three components to it. You've got your thoughts, you've got your words, and you've got how you feel. Your stance, your physical stance, and your thoughts and your words, they produce a result. You cannot fool yourself into not doing that result if you make sure that you align your thoughts, that you condition your body to be in a certain position, and if you speak whatever you want to speak. When those three come together, it's impossible for you not to do it. And sometimes that doing, that action taking, can just be 10 minutes of push-ups or 20 minutes of running or whatever it is. Myself, I needed a daily expenditure of 1.5 hours to 2 hours playing basketball, and that was my habit. But when that got moved out of my life, I then had to condense into maybe 1 hour what I used to do 2 or 3 hours per day. And the funny thing of all this is, it's become such a thing that it's become also my connection to source. It is my religion. It's really funny saying this, but physical activity is my connection to source. I feel more connected to a creator, which I don't label with God or Buddha or Jehovah or whoever it may be. I just respect that. But I feel much more connected to source when I am exerting effort, when I am grounding myself, when I am focused on the moment and being present to that repetition, that set, that moment that I'm sweating, everything strips off. The world just moves away, and it becomes, and this is the repetition of ingraining that conditioning. So it all starts with, yes, motivation is important, but if you don't have a system to keep motivation going, at some point it's going to fail you. So that's where Matthew was so right, and the importance of conditioning all this stuff. To me, it got so much conditioned that if I don't have it for periods of 2 to 3 weeks, my whole persona starts having withdrawal symptoms, the cold sweats, the mood swings, the sleep pattern disruption. All of these things, they're a result of what I think, of what I say, and what I physically make myself do. So this happens to everybody, right? So the bottom line is, if you're feeling in a slump, if you're sitting on a couch or on a bed and you think you cannot get up, the one thing you need to do right now, without thinking, without justifying, without trying to rationalize it, is get up, say and think. That's it. If after that you still dismiss yourself from the action, then all good. You go back to bed, maybe you need a rest day, no problem. But you cannot fool yourself 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So there's something there. When you have those three together, you're pretty much set. That's how I break my motivation slumps.
No, that's great. Triad of Dina.
That's dope, man.
That's a lot of
Yo, yeah,
value.
do some push-ups there.
I'll do some spots.
Dennis, get down, do push-ups, Dennis. Wait, where do you go?
Let's go.
Oh my God.
That was really good. Triads of behavior. So your thoughts, your words, and how you feel. If they don't align together, then you go back to bed.
You cannot not take action. You cannot not produce a result if those three elements of the formula are in place. It's just impossible. You would have to be very, very, very special to not be able to do it. Go ahead, Dan.
I find that very, very interesting because it's I think it's very, very similar concept to when they talk about the head, the heart, and the hand. They're talking about if the head is the language of thought, the heart is the language of feeling, and the hand is the language of doing, and it's to flow in one pattern. So it's very similar to what you're saying. Very similar.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely the principles there.
Yeah. I like that, man. I like that.
Thank you.
Right, so we've got a question from Luke again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you guys think in the background the bigger issue is that people don't have a purpose?
Oh my goodness.
And a goal?
Huge. Great question, Luke. You might be uncovering a Pandora's box for many.
Purpose.
That's big. All right. Take it on, Kwa.
Get it, Kwa. Get it, bro.
Well,
Go.
Because in my sense, if you guys who don't know me, I'm a bilateral amputee. If you could see my beautiful legs, but I found my purpose in a sense that I had to go through a traumatic event just to realize it. So it was unfortunate that I had to go through it to realize that life is so precious, and ways to live a quality life, with peace, spiritually, mentally, and physically, is to be healthy. Whether that's eating the right foods, and going to the gym, working out, or going for a run or whatever. I didn't realize that until I had a big event happen to me, but it's part of my destiny. I'm here interviewing you guys. I've got no legs, but I'm using that as my purpose to, and as you can see physically, I'm fit. So when people come up to me, they're very curious. They're looking. This guy's got no legs, but yet he's always smiling. He looks damn fit. Like what's my excuse? So that I found my purpose is to inspire others, even if you need that little jolt, because sometimes the world is busy. Not sometimes, the world is busy, especially with this coronavirus. Everyone's a headless chook right now. They've got their own problems, all that, and they tend to forget this. At the end of the day, you got to look after your well-being. But if you're getting all these negative media, negative news, you tend to forget about looking after yourself. That's where I come in, where if people tend to forget that and they're seeing me physically, visually, but not right now because we're social distancing, but I try to do that through social media. That's why I keep posting, right? It can inspire just to give that little jolt to start off their well-being in terms of health and fitness, physically and mentally. Yeah. What about you guys?
Mm-hmm. That's big. Matthew, you want to take it?
So it's Luke's question, right? About
purpose. How do you use purpose? And if you want to take it right now, go right ahead. If not, I think I can share something. thought.
Yeah, I guess the purpose underlying why, because like humans, we're emotional creatures, right? Like we buy with emotion and justify with logic. So pretty much whether you should train or not, you're basically selling yourself, right? We're all selling every day, right? So I guess in terms of why you do a particular thing, you know it's very hard to quantify. Like for me, why do I want to? For me, why do I want to get fit? Is just I don't want to die early, right? Don't want to die early. You want to stay healthy because number one, I guess my value is health. Everyone wants to be healthy. Without health, there's no wealth. No point being a billionaire, right? Like you're rich, but you can't even spend the money. What's the point? So my number one value is always health, and that kind of motivates me already because I've seen people sick and it's not fun to be in their shoes. So that's why what gets me up. But for different people, but for others, it may be a different story. It could be like trying to get a six pack for summer, you press that girl, the boy, that's emotional too. So I guess, yes, I think in part of motivation, what motivates you more is, there's actually two types of motivation. There's intrinsic and there's extrinsic. So extrinsic is more like, there's money, it's getting a six pack, it's like external, more superficial stuff, So, but intrinsic is more like feeling. Like, how would you feel when you get a six pack? That's the feeling. So I guess in terms of the question about bigger issue is whether people has a purpose and a goal or best reason why to train. Yeah, I guess every I think in every area of life, it's always about one person. It's always like a hardcore elite athlete, is an average gym goer, and there's a person that goes there, look at the phone and just walk on the treadmill, right? It's three levels of desires of people. That's what I find. So regardless of what you are, I guess it comes down to your personal values. Some people here are more hardcore than me, but then but I may not be that hardcore as a trainer, right? It really depends on like your value. What do you value out of health? It really depends on what you value. So I think it comes down to the fundamental value. What do you value in life? And then once you know your values, by the way, then decisions becomes easier, right? When values are clear, decisions becomes easier. So really know what you value out of life, and whether working out fits into those values, So maybe some people don't like going to the gym. Maybe a run in the park is better than going to the gym. It depends on your values. So know your values, and once you align with your own values and not other people's values, because I still love unfulfillment, misalignment when people try to impress other people. Oh, I gotta go to a six pack because my girlfriend's going to do that. That's not what you want. It's what they want. And that's when people become unfulfilled. And I'm always sick of seeing people unfulfilled, is because they care about what other people think. And, Gary Vaynerchuk says this: don't give a shit about what others think and think of for yourself. So that's, so in terms of, your question, your motivation, find out all within you, your intrinsic motivation. Think about why you value health, and then just go from there. All right, I don't want to die early. Why do you want to die early? Oh, I want to spend time with my grandkids. That could be a motivation, So just really dig down into why, and then, I think you'll feel better after that. You feel like, oh yeah, that's me. It's not other people. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Up to you. Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Very good. Sim, Dana, you want to chime in?
I think Sim got to take this one. Sim's more knowledgeable in this area.
I know you got a lot of purpose too, Dina.
I do. But Sim will probably have a lot more to shed, to the audience with this particular question.
All right.
And I can share mine after.
Yeah.
Good one, Dina.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Nevertheless, this is part of who I am. So I'm purpose-based, and the more purpose-based you are, the more you become. And I find myself working with visionaries and purpose-based coaches, and that's very interesting because it attracts different industries, people that are united by the like-mindedness of being purpose-based. And one of my clients is a perfect example of this. He's in extreme. He's in the extreme end of the spectrum. He's an IFBB pro. He steps on stage, and he's among the 10 best athletes in the world at what he does. But this can give you a glimpse of how much purpose ties into the simple act of physical activity. And this is what he does when he's running low on carbs or getting ready for his show. He he basically pictures his young son being taken away or being kidnapped if he doesn't do those last 3 reps, those last 5 reps. That's what gets him when everything else has failed. I'm talking about you have no more energy, your muscle fibers have worn out, you have pretty much nothing left in the tank. He puts that situation in his mind, and boom, that weight goes up beyond what most mortals would be able to. He pushes himself beyond that using his purpose. For myself, I don't have that extreme, but I do find that once I got really, really clear, and I was guided through this process of building my routine, my gym routine based on purpose, which was very funny to me. It was very interesting to me when I first was guided through doing that. But I realized that once I lined up what I stand for, my values, and how that purpose ties into everything that I do, the physical act of bettering myself in the gym became so much more clear, so that I can deliver the best of me to the world, that it empowered me to find whatever energy, motivation, or strength was needed to go and do what I must do. Because that bar, that weight, that session becomes the last frontier between what I am and me being able to bring that to the world. So I think purpose is absolutely huge. And if I was to recommend anybody on this call or otherwise, especially in these times, is to go deep in yourself and go find the questions that you're not even looking at, because you might come to the realization that you have strength that's been untapped, parts of yourself that you have not been courageous enough to look at or to unpeel, to peel off. This is a really good time to test this. And if you don't have time now to find yourself, that's where the problem is. Physical fitness is not your problem. The true underlying problem is that you have something that you're not looking at. You cannot find yourself enough to manifest that through the physical activity. And I'll just leave it at that.
Woo! Man.
Awesome.
Hey, Sim was just spitting out fire just there, man. He was spitting out fire.
That's what I love about this. We're all getting value from each and every one of us. And Dina,
that is.
you've got your purpose.
Oh my God, that is deep, man. That is deep. I think
yeah, exactly.
everyone out there, you know, some shape or form, you know, whether it's big or small, is looking for a sense of purpose and, you know, a sense of meaning as to the, you know, why we're here, right? I think it comes down to what you're naturally drawn to, and I think that's the biggest purpose of all. I think when you're whatever it is that you're naturally drawn to, you can start from there. That can be it can be your stem, it can be your anchor point. The physical aspect of training, a lot of people always look at training in that light, and they'll never be able to go far. And I think if you look at it in another light, where it's the spiritual and the mental component, that's what's going to really elevate the physical aspect of training. That's where you kind of should be looking at it from that angle. So that's where I think I'll be coming from. I want to touch base on what Sim was speaking about, and it has to manifest from within. So if there's a lot of, you know, searching that you haven't quite done just yet, it's a searching from within. It's a journey from within. And if you don't have time now, you'll never have time in a time of where we're isolated and we're quarantined right now. This is the best time right now to dig deep and to figure out what it is that's missing, what it is that you're trying to search for. And no one will have the answer to all those questions besides yourself. And I think that's why ideally there is no need for you to go search externally. And it comes from within. And a lot of people won't understand what that necessarily means. Try locking yourself up inside your room with no one there to talk to and speak to yourself. That'll be the challenge of the day, the challenge of the month. It'll be the challenge for the next 6 months. Because a lot of people are scared to get up into their own head and actually understand what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and how they act. That's the scary bit. If you can get that part right, everything else will flow. That's what I believe in, you know?
Bingo.
So,
Yeah, well said, Dana.
And you said, especially now is the time to dig deep, to dig underneath all those layers, because this is not a recurring event. Hopefully, an event like this happened over 100 years ago, the Spanish flu, and no one expected this. But and how we react to it is we've got this downtime now. What you guys said, that we're locked in a room, we're by ourselves. Where if we are following the law, the social distancing, not going out, you're actually by yourself most of the day, right? You're not going out to your friend's house to party or whatnot, but it gives you time to look deep into yourself and find out who you really are, because we've been brought up with social media a lot, and then you tend to look at other people's lives, like a celebrity life. You know, they go, wow, I want to be this person, and you get that. How would you say it? The envy, but it doesn't help you because you're shallow. Yeah, you're shallow. That you're not tapping into yourself. Everyone's got a phone. Flip, swipe. 3 seconds per. Yeah.
what happened?
Oh, what is it?
What was going on? No, nothing. I thought it was my phone.
Oh, yeah. You're frozen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is the perfect time for one to look deep into themselves and reflect on what they could, who they really are, you know.
Yeah.
And what you said there, not many people would like to.
100%. That because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're afraid of what they might find.
Yeah.
They're afraid of that.
Yes.
They're afraid of the hard truths, the hard and painful truths that they have to confront about themselves. And I think the most important thing as well, I want to also add, is that who you are and who you think you are is far more important than what the world views you, man. That's the most important thing. And there is no need for you to explain who you are or the decisions that you make in this life to anyone. As long as you know yourself, that's all that matters. You can carry yourself with your head up high every single day, everywhere you walk, every people that you cross paths with. You can simply be you and be proud to be you. That's something that a lot of people are very scared to do, to be themselves in a world that we live in. And I see that, you know. So yeah.
I think Luke touched up. Why are we so afraid? Is it because we care about what our friends and family will think? I truly believe that, because we're too busy trying to impress the outer, your family, your friends. You know, what you wear, what you say. You don't want to upset people, but then in return, you're not focusing on yourself. So that's why you're afraid to impact on other people. You might hurt their feelings in a sense. And that's whether it's, you know, it all adds up with the physical and the health. But
I also think that I also think there might be a component of what was brought up before. We look at all these perfectly shot Instagram feeds and think, oh, I must be doing something wrong if I'm not like that. And it's not always the case. We're being conditioned by everything, by media, by the government, by the education system, by all these things that tell us how to be and who to be, that we forget about what is it that, when detached from all of this stuff around, all of this influence, all of these outer incoming forces, who am I really? And it's scary. That I won't lie. It's scary to sometimes find ourselves in that place where I don't have Facebook to be cool. I don't have Instagram to look up to. I don't have my government telling me how to be. I don't have media conditioning me to what I should dress, what I should look like, and what I should say to be considered valid in this place that we all share. And that's scary. It's the platform. It's the basis for everything that we are. And if we don't have that, oh shit, now I have to be myself. Now I have to actually have an identity, and have that identity so well put in place that I do not fear what everybody else says. And like I said, it takes sometimes years to master that exercise of self-knowledge.
Yes. Oh, why are we so afraid? Anything to add, Matt?
Yeah, that's what I was going along, you know, in terms of values, you know, like when detached from all the external influences, what's your intrinsic motivation? That's something that takes probably most people will never find in their life. It just, you know, from all the conditioning since we were a kid, you know, it's like you're like a blank slate, and then, you know, everyone's drawing on your blank slate. You're chalking all the conditioning, chalking all the beliefs, and then that's who you are as a kid, and you're raised up. So, you know, to detach from all this conditioning can take a lifetime. So yeah, I agree. You know, it will take time, but once you find that and you're fully aligning yourself, then that's when you find your purpose, and your life just flips around, and you see life in a different angle. So yeah, definitely, life is about the self-awareness, finding yourself, and yeah, it's a lifelong journey, so enjoy it. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, see how interesting on the health and fitness side, where the physical side is just the outer layer, but when we dig deep into the mental side, we're what Dennis says, we're striking all kinds of chords, and it gets deep. Or there's more to it, because the physical side is the outer layer, which makes you feel good, but mentally, this is the important bit. You could be for example, you could be the biggest ripped guy ever, but if in your mind you're not accepting of who you are in what you're doing, then as it's just like the tri's behavior, it doesn't really work out. If those three don't align, lots of words and feel, then a lot of people get lost, and that's where they be afraid to, how would you say, express themselves. And now is a perfect time too, where we're all secluded, to find yourself. But what Ida mentioned, that we are afraid, you know, especially when we're bombarded with a lot of socials, television, which keeps us occupied. We don't have to think about ourselves. We're going to tune into the next Tiger King or the next episode of The Simpsons. I don't know, whatever. It's always keeping your mind occupied, but not for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Tiger King.
Watching that this week.
So I'm going to ask you guys for your free tips, just to give our listeners their takeaways. Just nice and short, free tips.
All right, so I'll go with 3 tips. Habits make you or break you. So having that routine planned out has been absolute gold for me. Recently, I started implementing one habit that I've resisted that habit my whole life. For the last 3 months, I've been doing the 5 a.m. club. I've been sometimes not waking up, but the majority, I've joined the 5 a.m. club, and that's been a game changer for me. I find myself being more productive, more focused, more on purpose than drowsing myself out of bed at 8 or 7. And it's been really interesting to see how much purpose it brings to everything else. So have that routine in place and be considerate of yourself. So you build your routine for your week, make sure you put your time in there, whether that be health, whether that be family, whether that be meditation. You have to work on yourself. So That will be the first tip. And then um, eat well. It's going to be very easy, and speaking from experience, to fall into bad habits and let them linger on. Um, we're going to be at home. We're going to be bombarded with all sorts of temptations. We don't have much outside of this environment that we're in. So we need to keep ourselves very, very disciplined up here so that the body reflects that. Third and last, connection. Just keep connecting with people. They're telling us to stay socially distant, but don't let social distance become a disconnection factor for you. Check in with somebody every day. Send them a message. I've got friends all over the world. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been reconnecting with people from Thailand, Portugal, Spain, all over the place. It's important. It's really, really important, and it will pay dividends to remain mentally, psychologically, and emotionally fit in the long run. Those are my 3 tips.
Fantastic. And
That's awesome, man.
Matthew.
Yeah, so I'll go more of not mental, because we talked about mental stuff for like the past hour, right? So the easier to digest, not as like deep stuff. So I guess it's back to the 3 pillars, right? Number 1 is exercise, right? So as we all have mentioned, it's all about finding the rhythm, the routine, the habits. So scheduling your exercises, I think recommended is like 30 minutes a day of something to keep your heart rate up. That's better than nothing. And and also the coronavirus going around, boosting your immune system is very important, right? And exercise is a core part of the immune system. And so that's number 1. Keep up the exercise, do whatever it takes. Don't make excuses. There's rice bags and stuff around the house, right? Number 2 is I reckon what's more important, which we all haven't talked about, is sleep. If you want to build muscle, you need sleep to repair the muscle. If you want to boost your immune system, you need to have good sleep. If you want to perform well at work or in your business, you need good sleep. And I think a lot of us, I'm not sure whether any of you are struggling with sleep, but I was actually sleep deprived for a long time, and I got obsessed with high performance. So I looked into sleep. I read a book called Sleep Smarter. This a book that's really comprehensive about 21 sleep habits as to how you can better your sleep. And one core tip that I like to give you guys is take care of your gut health, because your gut is actually your second brain. Did you know that? Your first brain
Yes.
is that, yeah. But if your second brain is, destroyed, like you got poor gut health, you poor digestion, all that kind of stuff. Number 1, of course, like your immunity is actually made up 80% of your gut health. And also, if your gut health is poor, then it shows in your sleep as well, because there's a connection between your gut and your brain. So if you guys are actually having troubles falling asleep, I recommend taking care of your gut health. So I love taking fiber supplements. I love taking probiotics. Make sure that they're the correct probiotics, because a lot of them out there actually, it doesn't really actually go to your gut properly. You actually get destroyed along the way to the gut. You get destroyed by the stomach acid. So you need the right type of probiotics. So most of them out there, I find from research, they're not very good quality. All right. So that's my core tip there. Number 2 is take care of your gut health, and that'll take care of your sleep. And then the third one is in regards to nutrition. Make sure everything that we do, humans, we're made of cells, right? We're made of trillions of cells. We're all trillionaires. Give yourself a round of applause. And if your cells aren't healthy, by the way, what do you think happens to your body? Well, you can't perform. That's why a lot of us are getting, sicker. Do you notice that, cancer, heart disease, all getting more common, and allergies, lactose intolerance, hay fever? Why we're all getting this stuff at such a young age? It's because the foods we're eating right now are actually not as nutrition dense as before. We actually have pesticides, all that kind of crap in our food. So make sure you take care of your nutrition. And I think the government, the doctors recommend 6 servings of vegetables for guys, or 5 if you're a lady, and 2 servings of fruits every day. And, I don't think I'm eating 5 servings of vegetables every single day. Like, it's very hard. A lot of us, one serving of vegetables is like a whole palm. That's one serving. 5 palmfuls. I'm like, what the hell? It's a whole face. So yeah, so if you guys aren't, like that's what causes, nutritional deficiencies. You don't perform well in the gym. You get tired. You feel like nodding off after lunch. All that stuff happens. So take care of your nutrition. And if you think you're not taking enough nutrition, consider taking supplements, because after taking supplements, my performance went through the roof. I worked a 16-hour day yesterday, and I still don't feel tired after 11 p.m. It's just crazy. So anyways, that's my 3 tips. Number 1, good sleep, exercise. Consider taking supplements if you aren't eating too well.
Very good. Exercise, sleep, and nutrition. Your top three.
Nice.
Dina.
Oh, okay. My top three. All right. Number one would be stay active. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be small. Like I said to you, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, doesn't matter. Whether it's a run, a walk, walking your dog, doing the garden, as long as you're out, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, whatever the case may be, pick your poison. That's number one, is stay active. Number two, I would say I would cover back on one of the threes that Sim has covered, which is human connection. That's big. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Humans are made to connect. We are made to connect with one another. And a time like this where we're socially exercising social distancing is very, very hard. So on a day-to-day basis, even if you're checking in with one friend or one family member, whoever the case may be, that speaks the same language as you, they have to speak the same language. What I mean when I say that is, if they're not aligned with your morals and values and your vision and your perspective towards life, if they're not speaking the same language as you, they're going to be draining your energy rather than feeding your tank. That's number two. Number three, I would say, is get in touch with your spirituality. Yeah, the journey of self-discovery, the spiritual component of your life. So trying to understand why you feel a certain way, why you think a certain way. Ask yourselves the very hard truths that's very confronting, the deep and darkest truths that you've never decided to ask yourself. This is the moment that you ask yourself now, I truly believe, to have a better understanding of what you are running away from. And most importantly, accept yourself for who you are and don't let your life be dictated by others around you in your life, whether they're family or friends, and telling you how to live your life. You live your life the way that you want to. That's number three. Yeah. So number one, stay active. Number two is human connection. Number three, the journey from within, tap into your spiritual component.
Very, very
Awesome stuff.
good.
Love it.
Yeah.
And we're almost time basically, but I saw Sim, you shared your social connections.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
If you guys, Dina and Matthew, would you like to if you want to share your social pages and whatnot, so we have these viewers who love to connect with you guys.
All right.
Just search Matthew Mock, my name, on Facebook. You'll find me.
Search Matthew Mock on Facebook and you'll find him, exactly. And Dina will, if you type in the chat, or anyone just search for Dina Sock.
Yeah, it should pop up. I'm trying to type it in for you guys. I got 3% left.
Oh, the battery.
I'm about to. It's
Good
about
time.
to go. It's about.
I know
Good
we're almost finished, so that's great. That's great. So I'll love to end on a high. I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and we'll start from Sim, Matthew, then Dina. All right. So it's going to be like a round robin, really fast. And I don't want you guys to think too much, but we'll end it up on a high. I've got like 5 or 6 questions. Okay. You guys ready?
Man, I think my phone's gonna die.
Oh, we're going to do it fast.
Okay.
Get a charger, bro. Excuses. No excuses.
No excuses.
Where is it?
All right. Ready?
Go.
Favorite color?
Red.
Blue.
Favorite movie?
Whoa.
Go on, hurry up!
Train to
I'm
Busan.
gonna go. What is it?
Train to Busan, the zombie Korean movie.
Oh, okay then.
What's yours? What's yours, Sim?
Fuck, I'm blocked. I'll
What
go with
is that?
Shawshank. Shawshank.
Oh, sure, it's not bad.
I'll have to go Shawshank. Yeah.
I'll go with Training Day. Denzel Washington.
Yeah, love that. Favorite food?
All right, easy. Assorda. That's a Portuguese specialty.
For me, recently it's been toothfish. My mum cooked very good toothfish, and so nice.
For me, it's my mum's cooking, so it's all range.
Favorite country?
Good question. I won't default to Portugal, but Portugal.
Portugal.
Favorite language, or was it country or language?
Favorite country.
Country.
I like visiting Fiji.
Fiji. I've never been to Fiji.
You're missing out, bro.
I think I should visit when this social distancing is finished. and we've got Dino, but he looks like he's frozen. So I'll jump on to the next question.
I think his 3% went to 0.
I think he went to go charge his phone. All right, this one. Turn-ons.
Ooh, my wife.
What's your turn-on?
My wife.
Ah, nice.
I get my wife as well. She's next to me. She's placed here.
All right, turn-offs.
Closed-mindedness.
Closed-mindedness. Yeah.
Negative people.
Negative people, yeah. Because if you hang around negative people, you soon will become negative. That's why if you're, as I say, if you're that light in a dark place, and that light represents positivity, you light up the whole room. Totally agree. And Dina's not back yet, but if you could be a Disney character, who would it be and why?
That would be easy if it was a Marvel. So I'd be.
Hey, but Disney is part of Marvel, so yeah.
All right, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and why is that?
Just love his human side, and then his ability to be quick, to be smart, to be physical, agile.
Oh, nice. So I was going to say Disney does own Marvel, so it qualifies.
Okay, good.
And Matthew, so yeah. We've also got Marvel. If you have a character.
Oh no, I'll stick to the rules of Disney. I was like, I don't watch too many Disney movies, but if I were to choose one, I don't know why the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why it just popped up. Maybe it's because even though outside you feel like you're not good enough, you feel ugly, you feel like you suck in life. But inside you have that beauty, that potential, and I see in everyone, and that's why I do what I do, is because I see potential in everyone. You're all great, and it's up to, I guess, your choice to choose and unleash it. It all takes one catalyst to actually unleash your true potential. So that's why I picked the Beast, because once he became a human, he found that love. But then even though he came back to the base, he still loved. So that's why I think that's beautiful.
Oh wow, the Beast, and that popped up into your
mind. I never thought about it. I'll talk about that. That's what I feel like. So.
Whatever. It was a shame that he didn't charge his phone. I wanted to really know what his Disney character would be. Well, thank you guys for being part of my panel in this round table discussion, and I hope every one of you guys who are in this chat have value out of it. Special thanks to Sim, Matthew, and Dina for not charging his phone. But I'm very gracious for you guys sharing your knowledge about health and fitness, and especially when we dive deep into the mental side of things, which is really important in times of uncertainty. But tune in to next time, guys, where we'll be running more of a muck with more fun.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and thank you again, Koa. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Dana, for making this a fun panel to be a part of and share our bits.
And thanks, Cole, for arranging this as well. Nice to meet you all, by the way. Yes. Let's connect on social media. Woo.
Yeah. All right,
guys, if you want to connect with the boys, search Matthew Mock, and Sim's already put his social media.
Yeah.
Actually, Matthew, you already put yours.
Yeah. There it goes again.
Oh yeah, oh, there you go again. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, and thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.